Hey everyone, this is WobblyWallaby. Today I'll be doing an honest review of the Stellar Hunter hero class Fenrir. This was recently released on the beta server and I've been trying it out in various PvE instances. Through this experimentation, I'll provide my analysis on this class and especially compare it against Stellar Hunter. Is this worth getting? Stay tuned to find out. One of the biggest comparisons people wanted was against Stellar Hunters. Back in November 2023, I had played with Stellar Hunter in PvE instances after it got lots of buffs. This also included an interview with Nampucha, which showed his build. So I've experienced the strengths and weaknesses of Stellar Hunters. For my honest reviews, I like to use my 70% deposit beta account to ensure people get a more realistic expectation of this class. For setup, I'm using a very standard style hunter gear, with the exception of the Fenrir's new bow, which also adds to his water attack. Next, I don't have many shadow equipment on this account, so I just equip what I have. For Oracle Mirror, I use Slash for the auto attack damage. For Relic, I use Lord of Bane. With this setup, I have 23,000 attack, 480% attack speed, 115.1% physical penetration, 270.5% critical damage, 96% auto attack increase, 108% damage percentage, 71.9% physical damage increase, 139% water damage increase. If you want to know more about the skills, check out my previous video, I'll put a link in the description. Now if you need BCC to get more runes for trying out Fenrir in the future, then try Smile.1. Smile.1 allows you to get discounted BCC and premiums for Ragnarok Mobile. You can see the discounted prices here and then at the bottom, the wide variety of payment methods for lots of flexibility. Smile.1 has been around for more than 8 years and have lots of global business partners for other games too. Click the link in the description to begin saving today. Thanks to Smile.1 for sponsoring this video. Next I'll begin with some legend runs. Against a legend golem, I cast myself buffs, including converting my attacks to water. I cast Lunar Wolf Strike first to get a bit of extra DPS. On auto, I just have auto attack. Compared to Stellar Hunter, Fenrir has better burst due to his piercing arrows. Twilight Ambush also makes your next 5 auto attacks shoot piercing arrows, as well as your core hero passive that after 3 shots I'll fire 1 too. His Moonshadow Barb to dodge forward is a bit unintuitive. I'd prefer rollback like Stellar Hunter's Twinkling Star skill. For survivability, Fenrir does beat Stellar Hunter, especially the passive skill Lunar Eclipse, which lets you have anti-death every 6 seconds and recover your HP based on your SP and luck. For Stellar Hunters, you don't have a built-in anti-death, and unless you have the HP relic, it is unrealistic for most people, so that's why the survivability is much worse for Stellar Hunters. The Golem goes down at 70% Depo. I believe it performed better than Stellar Hunters at the same deposit level. However, you need 7/7 in your core hero passive, which is going to cost you so many runes. At level 7, your piercing arrows deal 100% damage to monsters, which includes bosses, which is definitely the determining factor whether you can play this class or not in PvE. The high requirements for runes is one of the reasons I do not like this class compared to Stellar Hunters, which have a lot less rune requirements. Now, before I continue on Isles, I'd like to talk about burst a bit more. I was never a fan of the Meteor Pulse build in Stellar Hunters to do burst, since it makes your auto attack build worse. Fenrir's piercing arrows are ideal for bursting down bosses, especially on the field, and you don't have to modify your auto attacking gear to accommodate for this. You can also use Moonshadow Barb to fire 3 arrows to burst down a boss. So the burst here is definitely much better. Next is floor 2 of Isles, and here is my ghost build. I'm not using Fenrir's bow because I want to use the ghost arrow. I've tested that if you use the Frost Moon arrow, which forces your attack to water, it will override the arrows. So unfortunately you will lose out on the auto attack damage by 30%, which is kinda painful. Since I'm not using water attack, I do use Wind Chaser. I don't have the crab bow on this account, otherwise I'd probably use that instead. Against the Sea Spirit Totem, I really like Fenrir's survivability. His anti-death is quite good and allows you to easily deal with this boss. When I had used Style Hunter before, I had to really make sure my anti-death foods were timed properly, and I had to eat a lot of potions. However, where Fenrir's survivability really doesn't work is floor 3 of Isles. The boss hits really hard and quickly, that means your anti-death won't save you. Even if you make it to stage 2, there's just too much chaos around and explosions, so you'll probably die. This was the best I could do over a few runs. If my deposit was higher, I could probably clear this faster and survive. What I would consider real survivability is Wrath's Feathers that gives her regenerating HP shields to avoid getting one shot. Or Ronin's Last Stand, which gives 8 seconds of invulnerability, which is much easier to time. Again, I find Shadow Barb's 1 second of invulnerability to be very difficult to time against fast hits. The good thing is that bosses don't always hit quickly. One of the best instances for slow and avoidable insta-kills is PSR. The anti-death gives you some chances in case you run into an orb or want to miss the explosions. However, in PSR, water damage is horrible, so I wouldn't recommend using it here. Ronin and Rathgricy are much better options. Against mobs in Oracle, Fenrir's AoE isn't very consistent compared to Style Hunter's Meteor Fission. Since it's not reliable, I think it's bad versus mobs. If Icy Prison had a shorter cooldown, it would be better since that gives a good debuff and has AoE, but that probably would be too powerful for PvP to have a low cooldown. The same goes for White Star Airship, he just isn't good enough. Also, his debuffs aren't worthy of taking a slot in the party either. If you can't deal DPS, you're better off being a party buffer or a mob debuffer that can support your real DPS. Next for Museum, I tried it a few times, it also can't do it very well, but I'll let this run as I give my final thoughts. If you really enjoyed Style Hunters and wanted something better for PvE, you should use it. It has better burst and survivability, which I think is what Style Hunters lack right now. If you like ranged physical DPS, I think this is a great class. However, I would never choose this class over Rathgricy. If you need to invest in runes to make something 7-7, Rathgricy is a significantly better investment. For a non-free-to-play class, Ronin is also what I use for PvE since the DPS is absolutely nuts. So, would I play this class seriously? No, because it just isn't overpowered enough. I hope the devs will give this class more buffs in the future. One other thing that many people brought up is they're disappointed that Fenrir cannot transform into a wolf. Jormungandr can transform into a snake, so why can't he become a wolf? Come on devs, we want to transform into a cool wolf. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Here's a video that I would recommend, and if you want more sneak peeks, check out this playlist over here.